Right. And which brings me to something I heard earlier today when I was talking to my audience about the fact that I'm going to be speaking to you. Um, they were like, "We are so happy. You were speaking to somebody who's not from the who breaks the mold of what we understand as Indian cinema, blah blah blah. Like people understand the fact that at least as far as cinema is concerned, you are different from the rest of the mold, right? That you are not doing the same 50-year-old man and a 25-year-old woman running around the fields trying to fall in love. My is it is it not frustrating as a filmmaker? Is it not like, what the hell, how long are we going to sit with this dream? Because when you mentioned sex and violence being two very important themes, fantasy, I think, is the most important theme when it comes to Indian cinema. It is all just like Disney movies that have been replicated in human proportions. Is it not frustrating as a filmmaker, as somebody who wants to pass on good ideas using cinema as a means, to see that there is this meme that will not stop replicating?
Well, yes and no. Like, firstly, Indian cinema is not Bollywood. Bollywood is one section of Indian cinema. It's an aggressive section. It's a section that has its presence felt very strongly because of the resources it comes with. But it's a small section when it comes to the larger number of things, larger number of conversations that are happening in cinema. I mean,
Right.
if you look at cinema in Kerala, there's
Hmm.
some great work happening there. There has always been interesting work coming out of Bengal, of
Hmm.
Kolkata. There has always been, cinema of India is a very, very vast idea.
Right.
And I do not necessarily find myself responding to it much when it comes to and when now we are talking about Bollywood
Hmm. 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 In specific,
Bollywood
yes.
is just one theme, one moment, and it will pass. I don't think it's as it's, of course, it's lasted the last few decades, but it's already being replaced, and I don't really foresee it being it continue being as all pervasive as it is now.
Right.
Um, it's uh, it's going to be replaced massively. It's going to remain. There is going to be a part of Indian cinema that is going to be Bollywood. No doubt about it. As there is like I said, like every part of the world has cinema that is. I mean, okay. Here's the thing. I'm going to say something controversial here.
Go ahead.
Um, Martin Scorsese came out criticizing uh, Avengers and Marvel, and they're saying that this is not cinema. And from my my vantage point, I'm not empathetic. I'm not very sympathetic towards Martin Scorsese either.
Hmm.
Like for me, the Martin Scorsese is way closer to Avengers and Marvel than he is to me.
Hmm.
So the world has filmmakers. The world is replete with themes, like I said, of survival,
Hmm.
of human beings finding methods of survival. That is really most of cinema. Now, that does not frustrate a person who understands why it exists. I know exactly why it exists. I've like I said, there is an evolutionary reason why this exists. I have understood it for all these years. I've been looking at it, studying it. So it doesn't frustrate me. I mitigate that challenge. I learn to live with that challenge. I learn to live with the idea that most human beings on this planet are going to invest in narratives about progeny creation, about proliferation, and about saving their loved ones in the face of danger, and about hating
Hmm.
the other who is going to be the danger to their loved ones. Now, this is really all of cinema today.
Hmm.
Not just Indian cinema, all of cinema everywhere else in the world. The enterprise that I'm a part of is slightly different from everywhere in the world. It's not only Indian cinema that I'm that different from.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think there is much happening in American cinema of that can really that resonates with me as deeply either.
Hmm. So
Every
who
once in a
does?
while,
Who resonate? What kind of filmmakers resonate with you? Like
well, there are lots of great filmmakers around the world who are doing some truly insightful work. That exactly the kind of work that I'm talking about, which is using what is as
Hmm.
a means to as a means to prescribe what ought to be, as
Hmm.
a means to I mean, looking using cinema as a way of making the manual for spaceship Earth.
Hmm. Hmm.
Right?
Hmm.
We are on this spaceship Earth,
That's Neil deGrasse
hurtling through
Tyson.
space.
Right.
Sorry.
But that's Neil deGrasse Tyson says that, right? Welcome to
Well,
Space Time.
it's Fuller. It's Buckminster Fuller
Uh-huh.
originally.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So
So,
so and
is
we are making this manual constantly, and
Mhm.
policymakers are making that manual. Religions in the past were proto policy, were proto constitution.
Right.
They tried to make it. They did not do it very effectively. They did it to some extent, to some effective use for
Hmm.
certain region in certain time, and then religions were replaced by policy
Hmm.
on one end and science on the other.
Hmm.
And in truth seeking, it was science, and in figuring out
How
how
to
to
affect
live
it?
in a way that is going to create equal opportunity for everyone and equal redistribution of wealth
Hmm.
is policy. So policy and science replaced religion and are far greater and more meaningful and precise replacements of philosophies and religions of the past.
Hmm.
And and likewise, there are cinema makers who treat cinema as a means of participating in producing that manual for spaceship Earth.
Hmm.
So the filmmakers that I think who do that are Belatar
Hmm.
with his films like Turin Horse, Workmeister Harmonies, Michael Haneke with films like The White Ribbon, for example. Emir Kusturica did that with Underground. There are so many filmmakers. Roy Anderson with Jules Levante, Songs from the Second Floor. I mean, I can go
Right.
on and on with a
I would
long list of
expect. Right. Right. Right.
yeah, with
Ooh,
a
is Parasite closer to you or to the Scorsese Avengers version of filmmaking? How do you see Parasite? Have you seen that film?
Yeah, of course, yeah. I think Parasite is a great example of what we are talking about.
Hmm.
It uses what is as a bridge to critique it sufficiently so we can arrive at what could be.
Hmm.
And that is the kind of cinema that I enjoy. Like I said,
Hmm.
this is really Parasite is a great example of that. It really is
Hmm.
critical. It reflects on it. It records it. It records an experience at multiple levels. It produces this profoundly uh, vast metaphor of
Hmm.
of 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 class. I mean, just think about it. Like you know, the idea that we have managed to manufacture poverty, that we have managed to, as a species, manufacture class.
Hmm.
No other species has managed to do this.
Hmm.
I mean, fungi have economics as well, and they have extremely complex economics. They have all kinds of
Right.
techniques, and they have there's this
Massive.
fungi mafia as well. But but still, the scale at which human beings have managed to perpetuate class, no other species has managed to do that. And and Parasite manages to kind of create such a beautiful and long lasting metaphor
Hmm.
of that of that reflection
Right.
and manages to critique it, manages to also kind of provide for some kind of reconciliation and redemption.
I once took a class with a gentleman named Richard Pena. I don't know if you've heard of Richard Pena. He's particularly popular in the cinema circles as somebody who's I wouldn't even say he's a critic, but he's a theorist. He's a film theorist. And so what he would do is he would take us through cinema of the world. He started all the way with, I think he started with Benny's Video, which is from Austria. And then
Hmm,
he
hmm,
went on to Lars von Trier. He went on to
hmm,
Lady Vengeance. So like we
hmm,
just traveled the world. And in that, I understood that there is something very akin to a rhythm to visual storytelling, which we, if we do not expose ourselves to enough comparisons, we never really realize. And with Parasite, that rhythm was something like flat, and it just suddenly spikes towards the end, and you're just left wondering what, because I think the reflection
hmm,
occurs in the moment of the climax. Up until now, you're like, there's something happening, okay, I'm putting the pieces together, but then you're like, oh, this is about class, this is about what happens to somebody if he's not, if he does not feel part of society as a whole. And to that effect, I was blown. And it is sort of typical of Korean cinema in my view. The ones that I've watched almost sort of have that kind of a flavor where you are left guessing towards the very end as to what is going to collide towards the end. Did you have that sort of a feeling watching that, or were you like aware that this is where it's going? Was it obvious to you?
Well, I've admired John Woo Bong for a very long time. There is, you know, his work has informed our understanding of cinema, our insights of cinema for a good 17, 18 years now. He has been a very important part of our cinema education. And by our mean, I mean my peers and I.
Mm,
Uh, when in our early days of film thinking as cinema students, we were we would talk about memories of murder for
mm,
days and and weeks. And so his cinema we have studied his cinema, we have understood his cinema, we have, it's really been very important to us. The cadence is a very personal experience. I agree with you over there that the idea of the rhythm or cadence of anything is a profoundly inner experience. I do not I do not experience the flatlining that you're talking about. For me, John Woo Bong is hip hop. Really, he's like, it's not at all.
Interesting.
He's moving too much for me. He's absolutely constantly creating a. So for me, his rhythm is extremely sexy and
Hmm.
juicy.